Dragon Emperor sees bruises on Human Maid. After learning truth, summons Imperial Guard. The Dragon Palace of Varanth was built of obsidian and flame, towering over the mountain range like a black crown. Within its golden halls walked creatures of power, scaled diplomats, warlord with molten breath, and nobles whose wings could cast shadows over cities. Among them worked the human servants, small, soft, and utterly overlooked, until one day, Emperor Ryzek noticed her. She was cleaning the mirrored floor in the eastern gallery, on hands and knees, her brown dress stained with soot. Her dark hair was tied in a messy braid, her hands trembling slightly as she scrubbed. Ryzek had paused mid-flight, folding his wings as he descended silently behind her. "Stand," he commanded. She jumped, quickly rising. "Why, Your Majesty," she said, eyes wide with terror. Her name, if he recalled correctly, was Lyra, a recent acquisition in the palace's growing number of human servants. But what caught his attention wasn't her voice. It was the ugly purple bruise marring her pale cheek, and the darker ones half visible under her loose sleeves. Who did this? Ryzek's voice dropped to a thunderous growl. She flinched. "And no one, Your Majesty. I tripped." He narrowed his golden eyes. "You are a terrible liar." Lyra froze, her lips pressed tightly together. She looked like she wanted to melt into the floor. Ryzek's nostrils flared, picking up a scent, salt. She'd been crying recently. Before she could speak again, he turned. "Follow me." They walked in silence through the palace halls. Guards bowed low as the Emperor passed, their gazes lingering on the maid following close behind. When they reached his private solar, the guard stationed outside stiffened, but he waved them off. Inside, the chamber shimmered with warm firelight. Ryzek gestured to a plush seat. "Sit, and speak the truth." Lyra hesitated, then slowly obeyed, wringing her hands in her lap. He waited. Then finally, she whispered. It was Overseer Malvin. Ryzek's gaze darkened. "The human taskmaster?" She nodded. He says I'm too slow. When I fall behind, She stopped, blinking hard. "And no one intervenes?" "No one dares. He has authority. And I'm just human." The word struck him like ice. Ryzek had spent years forging peace between dragonkind and the mortal nations. He declared that human servants would be treated with dignity. Yet here was one, bloodied under his roof. He rose. "You are under my protection now. I will not allow this to continue." Lyra looked up sharply. "Your Majesty?" He turned to the flame brazier at the center of the room. With a clawed hand, he reached into the fire and drew out a crystal orb. Whispering command in Draconic, he flung it into the air. A shimmering red sigil bloomed. Within seconds, 3 elite members of the Imperial Guard stormed into the solar. "Summon Overseer Malvin," Ryzek ordered. "Drag him here in chains." Malvin was brought in, struggling and snarling, his fine coat torn. He was a man of thick neck and thicker pride. "Emperor, this is outrageous. I demand to know." Ryzek silenced him with a growl. So deep it rattled the windows. "You will not speak unless spoken to." He turned to Lyra. "Is this the man?" She gave a timid nod. "Overseer Malvin," the Emperor said coldly, "you are charged with assaulting a servant under Imperial protection. Do you deny this?" "She's lying." Malvin barked. "These humans are lazy, manipulative." A crack of flame burst from Ryzek's hand. "Enough." The guard seized Malvin, forcing him to his knees. "You forget," Ryzek said, voice now lethal, "that our treaty with the mortal kingdoms demands respect. You forget I personally welcome the humans into my court, and you dare sully my word." Malvin paled. "You will be exiled, stripped of title, and if you ever return, Your bones will decorate my gate." Malvin screamed as the guards hauled him away. Lyra stood, stunned. You believe me?" Ryzek looked at her, his expression softening. "Of course I did. You carry truth in your eyes. I see it." That evening, the palace buzzed with the news. A human maid defended by the Emperor himself. An overseer punished without trial. It was unheard of. Lyra returned to her shared servant quarters, but found her belongings already moved, neatly stacked inside a quiet corner suite on the upper floor. She blinked. "Is this a mistake?" she asked the waiting attendant. "No, Lady Lyra," the woman said with a respectful bow. "The Emperor has reassigned you. You now serve in his personal wing. And he sent this." She handed over a small velvet pouch. Inside was a tiny vial of golden healing salve and a necklace bearing the sigil of the royal flame, a mark of imperial protection. No one would touch her again. Weeks passed. Lyra healed, physically and emotionally. She spent her days tending the Emperor's private library, polishing his armor, arranging tea trays. Ryzek began to speak with her, not as ruler to servant, but as dragon to human. He was curious. "What do humans dream of?" he asked one day, lounging beside his fire pool in humanoid form. She smiled faintly. "Freedom, love, a place to belong." "You have no one?" "My family died in an invasion last year. I was sold off after. I don't really belong anywhere." Ryzek frowned. "You belong here now. And you are not just a servant. You are under my protection. No harm shall touch you again." Lyra's eyes met his, and for a flicker of a moment, something passed between them. Something warm and ancient and unspoken. Then one morning, she did not appear for her usual duties. Ryzek stormed to her chambers and found her collapsed on the floor, feverish and shaking. "Get the healer," he roared. The court physician arrived within minutes and declared a delayed reaction to Malvin's beatings, something internal left untreated. Ryzek's fury reignited like a volcano. He almost killed her. "She needs rest," the healer said, "and care. Someone close to her." So the Dragon Emperor stayed. For days he sat at her bedside, shifting between dragon and human form. He fed her broth with his claws, cooled her fever with his breath, and whispered old lullabies in draconic tongue. When she woke, weak but alive, her eyes brimmed with tears. "You stayed? I swore you'd be safe." She reached out, trembling fingers brushing his hand. "Why do you care?" He took her hand gently. "Because I see you, Lyra. Because strength should protect the small, not crush them. And because—" He hesitated, his voice suddenly quieter. "Because you're the first soul in centuries who's looked at me not with fear, but with kindness." A tear rolled down her cheek. "You gave me hope." He leaned closer, brushing the tear away. "Then stay here, always, not as servant, not as protected, but as chosen." Her breath caught. "Chosen?" He nodded solemnly. "Will you walk beside me, Lyra the Ashen Flame, as my equal, as my mate?" She couldn't speak, but the way she leaned into his warmth said enough.